Okay, let's talk about the Gorn Part 2. We'll do like an early look at it, and I'll give you my observations on it. Kind of really wanted to do that the last time, but I just didn't have the time to do it. Okay, the main event that they had to start the arc off, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about some improvements that they actually did to the event where I was highly critical of the last event, but I think there were things that they could do better next time around on this one. So this is why I'm mentioning it now. Okay, this was one for the supposedly to feature the new ship hitting the Gorn hostiles. The one thing that they did do is they didn't open in the hostile thing so people could exploit it. And thumbs up to you creators for that, because that was really needed on the last one, because people were not using the Gorn as the hostiles to score in the event, they were using the aquatics. I don't think that was intended at all. And also, there was a couple other hostiles that scored almost as high as the Gorn, like your Borg probes and your Texas class for the Monavine. Those scored pretty much the same. So I don't think that was intended, and I'm glad that they closed in the hostiles for this event. It could be ran properly for the most part. This is where they kind of messed up the event right here. The bonus for the new ship is only 2 times the points. Okay, and then again, it's on damage. So, what's going to score the most damage? The highest hostile you can hit, of course. Well, even if you bought the day 1 pack, that gave you 1 upgrade short of tier 3. Of course, you could buy another upgrade, but to me, the ship itself didn't have the value for me to spend more than the day 1 pack, because the day 1 pack usually gives you double the parts and double the bonus stuff inside of it, because the stuff you get in there for the rest of your game, it's worth it. And believe me, I hate gimmick ships. If the day 1 pack wasn't just completely awesome, I wouldn't buy it. I would just completely progress, play this thing where I'm just, upgraded as I get the materials through the events and daily grinds. And that's what I'm going to do with this ship going forward. I'm not going to buy any more of the packs in the store, because overall, I don't think this ship was needed in the game. The refinery for this Gorn, where it has, what you got is a new loot that the existing hostiles use, which thank you for that too. So now I can fill my refinery with both of the loots that I need to keep them going. So I don't have to make 2 runs. I can only make 1. Thank you for that. But anyway, what you can see here is, you can see I got a pretty high score, but it only got me 6th place, because the guys that actually won the event, they didn't use the new ship. They went as high in one of the 60 plus systems that you could go, and use their ship that way. I tried it, but I wanted a new loot, because the ship, if you use a regular ship, it does give you a small amount of the new loot. It's heavily on the previous loot and very slim on the new loot. And I'll give you some examples of that. I'll show you the new ship, new loot, and I'll show you my return in 63 space, and we'll compare the loots. But the thing was, remember, it's damage dealt, not loot. Now, if they would have put this, if you're using the ship, if it gave you like 20,000 times the points, or they had like a third deal with the loot bonus, then they would have, there probably been still guys that who didn't buy the ship would have went and done it in the other spots. But if you had 2 different bonuses, one for using the ship and one for the loot here, then it would kind of serve the purposes this event was supposed to incentivize people to unlock the ship early and use it in the event. Well, this event didn't really do that because to win the event weren't people that were using the ship at all. On my server, at least. Maybe on somebody else's, but not on our server. Our server, the guys that won the event took their biggest battleship, went into the highest system that they could get, and grinded it out that way. I did like, I don't know, 2 or 3 runs with my regular ship to help me get past some guys on the leaderboard. But the guys that were ahead of me, I didn't want to invest the repair bill to repair my Reteran that many times because the loot differences were, I would have had to really, to make it worth to me, I would have had to got second place. And as you can see the numbers on my leaderboard. So I was happy with 6th and get the loot that I got there. Mainly I wanted to focus on getting the new loot and help me advance this ship so I can make my refinery better, because there is an incentive to take this to at least tier 7 so you can get better ship parts, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to try to get this thing to tier 7 as quickly as possible, but I'm not going to buy any more of those packs to do it. It's going to be earned through the game. The only ship that I really went crazy with the upgrade packs, and I took it to tier 5 right away, was my Talios. I saw the Talios wasn't going to be a one-trick pony like most of these gimmick ships are. I'm not a big fan of this ship, to be quite honest with you, because the gimmicks that it has on it, one of them I'll never use. Let's look at it real quick before I send it, since show you some examples of what the difference in the loot value, and that's how they should have done it. Okay, like I said, I've got mine up to tier 3 with the day 1 starter pack. I was able to take it to tier 2 with 1 upgrade to tier 3, and I think it took me 2 refinery pulls to get enough loot to take it to tier 3. And as you can see right now, I have no upgrades done at tier 3 yet. Okay, with this ship, it opened up a new refinery, or it added to the isomatter refinery, let's say. The first deal where you use the loot, the new loot for the first one. The second one gets these parts from the first refinery. You get your officer shard loot there. And it has all the current officers available, the one in this arc and the one previously. So this is the biggest factor for me. This is why I'm hitting this hard, because I want to be able to tier all these new officers out. So this I'm going to have heavy engagement in this loop going forward. And then this is why I want to take it to tier 7, because right now at my op level, I have no need for G4 parts. I just don't. I really don't have that much of a need for G5. Mostly I'm going to use this for my G6. You know, if I'm close to, I need to see what we got in there. Do we get just commons? Let's see. Yeah, we just get uncommon and commons. So for my G5, I need rare parts for all my ships. So I probably won't ever use it, to be honest with you. It'll probably be all G6. See, they don't show you in here until you unlock it. So I need to get this to tier 7 where I can use this, use this for in there. Right now I can't. And you can see I have been heavily engaged with these as well. Okay, and they also have a deal, and one of the things I don't like about this, the way that they set up the loot on this thing. Okay, it makes sense. It uses the same parts as your ship, but you got to come through here. At each tier, you got to open one of these and use 8,000 of these parts to get these little token things here, because every upgrade is asking for one of those tokens. So I did, because there are 8 upgrades on each of them, so it gives you 8 tokens. So I think I can take it up to tier 14 at my ops level right now. I don't know that I'll take it that high, but I will at least take it to 7 or 8 and see what benefits it has to me at that point. The one thing I don't like of what they did with this ship, how the research is done in the research tree here. Go all the way to the back. There are 3 new research nodes back here. As you can see, I have one done on the warp, one done on the new loot. And as you can see, it uses the same materials as your parts for the ship. So you're gonna have to decide whether you're gonna upgrade the ship or make the research better on the ship. You can't do both. This one's gonna be key because the warp range on this ship is crappy to begin with. So this is a strategy I was talking about. You're gonna have to strategize. Is the research worth more than the upgrade to the ship? The regular loot boost, you can see I haven't done that one. Because probably what I'm going to do until I get this higher, I'm probably going to have to make 2 runs. I'm going to make a run for the new loot, and I'm going to make a run for the other loot with using my one of my regular battleships. And I'll show you why in a minute. What crew I was using on it, and I'll probably use going forward. I'll just add other officers as I tier it up. Because like when I go to tier 4, I'll be able to add another officer here, and this will be probably Troy, Troy right there. So I've got Nurse Chapel as an officer. I'm using this so I can boost the regular loot. I'm not sure that her ability works on the new loot. I've asked. I haven't got an answer on that. So I don't know. But we can see on this one, though, with the ship itself, you got all this increased isolytic damage, and it increases the apex isomatter, which is the new loot, by this humongous amount of deals. So when you use it to grind, you're going to primarily get that. You're going to get a lot more of that than what you will the regular. And let's take a look at that now. Okay, I'm in the 46 system now, the Gorn 46 system. And that's pretty much as high as the warp range I can get it there by itself. Like I said, I could use my discovery and hit the 49 system, which I did a couple of times for the event. I did that a couple of times, and I thought it wasn't really worth using my discovery juice for it. So, okay, since we're using the interceptor, we want to hit the battleships. Let's look and see. You can see I had barely any hull damage, so it's a pretty strong little ship. Like I said, it can easily do 49s, but I just can't get it there yet. And let's look at how much loot I got on one hostile. As you can see, it heavily weighs on the new Apex isomatter loot instead of the old one. You can see right there. So I can see a case until you're able to take this up higher and be able to increase that one research in there, making 2 runs, one for the regular and one for right now. But I think this ship, eventually, after you tier it up a little bit and go to a higher system and you get the research built up in this, this will be the only ship you need to do this. It crushes these 46s. I just wish they had the warp range without me using my discovery to take it to the 49s, or even when I tier it up in a few days. I'm probably going to wait to tier it up, and when I tier it up, I'll probably be able to go to the 50 system and start doing some there. And this is where I guess where Chapel will help you out, because I would hate to see what the payout for these 46s are. I mean, luckily I on the previous event, I was not even sniffing hostiles this low. I was up in the 60s, and I got some decent amount of loot up there. Okay, I got 4,000, and it hadn't put the new one I just destroyed. So I got, let's go back. So I got 5,000 right now. And let's see, let's look at the ratio. The ratio is going to be heavy on the new loot. Yeah. Yeah, so basically after you tier it up, I would say I would definitely do the research on the on the previous isomatter loot. That was where I would probably focus my research after I do my warp range. Probably warp range is going to be the most important, and then I think the old loot research to boost the amount that you get, because this one gets for this. This is does a pretty decent job on it. Let's see what it is before the ship bonus is on it. Let's see if it. Yeah, see, look how much that ship bonus does that, and you can see Chapel's in play too, because you get 30 of the old. You get 30 of the old and only 7. So look how much that ship boosts the new loot. Had they used that in the event, then you're talking about a whole different event. Had they used the loot as a factor on scoring, and that's what they should have done. But I do, like I said, even though I'm griping about that they didn't use the new loot to help people use just this new ship instead of using their battleships and going to the biggest system to get the most power type thing on it. They would have had to use the ship if they would have used this loot bonus on it and made it high enough to where people are going to be primarily using the new ship for the event, but they didn't do that. Hopefully on round 2 they will, but round 1 not so much. It was still won by your regular battleship, and I'll show you why here. And the problem is I don't have the scoring the event has. If I would have had, I thought about if I would have had time to do it, but I didn't because of work. I would have done a run during the event to show you because I noticed that right away, because I was scoring a lot of stuff on this thing, and I wasn't getting whatever it was. So I'm going to load up my Refinery, and I'm going to hit 63 space. Okay, I'm now in the Gorn 63 system, and I'll show you what the reward you get for that. I've got Chapel on the bridge, so I got the loot bonus. As you can see, you got very little of the Apex. I got a bunch of the other ones. So until you be able to tier the new ship up a little bit higher, so where you can get more of the regular isomatter than for the other part of the refinery, you're probably going to have to do 2 runs. That'd probably be the best way to go. But hopefully we can tier that ship up high enough that you can get a good balance of both. But that's yet to see. But in the actual event, you got billions for hitting these hostiles, where you only got, I think, a few million on the other ones. So you couldn't win the event by using the other ship or the new ship. You had to use your best warship and take it into the highest system that you can to score, to actually try to compete well in the event. But so far, one of the things I wanted to talk about in this video, what I think of part 2 of this arc is, right now I'm not real happy with it. It's kind of a meh after having the best arc ever. They do this. It does have an event store hooked up to it, so you got event store loot, and you can advance some of these officers, which is the good thing about this arc. Like I said, I'm not a real fan of the new ship, and I'm definitely not a fan of what they did here. The war room should have resetted with the new arc launch, but it didn't. All the crying from all the farmers in this game, and they must have listened to them, because we should have got a reset of this war chest when the arc started, but we didn't get it. I don't know when they're going to run it again, because it should have ran this week, but it did not. So I'm not real happy with that. What I'm going to do this arc is try to earn as much loot as I can to tier up my Sam Kirk. I was already, day one, I was able to take my Babinga to tier 3, and I was able to get enough shards to finish out Chapel to tier 5, to tier her out, and now I'm working on Sam Kirk. I would like to do some of the other officers in that are available, but probably not. My sole focus is probably going to be on Sam Kirk, because I think I need 73 shards to tier him to 3, so I got both of them to 3. So that's my goal, because I think those, like I've told you in the other video, I think that set's going to be the set to use for PvE going forward. Once you get them tiered up high enough, I think they're going to beat out the Janeway crew. So until next time.